Welcome to Anything But Routine. And today is a topic that I think is on every coach's mind. I put it on our Dance Coach and Teachers Unite Facebook. What is something we can have our next episode be on? And the two big things were entitlement of kids and parents, and then just dealing with parents in today's culture. So we're going to look at how many pages we have, because I printed out questions that people wrote in, and it's just, and I've coached a long time, but it has changed. It really has.
I was just saying that I keep seeing videos on TikTok coming up of other dance teachers being like, please help. I don't know how to handle my students right now, and what I've been doing isn't working. And I just was telling her I've been feeling that way, that I'm noticing a shift in the kids that I've coached for a long time, and I feel like I've always kind of handled things the same way, and it's worked, and it's not necessarily working for every class anymore.
Yeah, and it's hard to put your finger on exactly what it is. I think a lot of times it comes back to that they're having too much screen time, too much texting, too much they're not able to directly speak with people the same way they used to be able to.
For sure. I think that's a big part of it. And I even noticed, we were just laughing the other day when you were at my house, and I try to avoid screen time with my kids as much as possible. And if I do screen time, normally it's like on our TV that they can't touch, because I don't like seeing them scrolling and trying to go into different apps, and I just think it's too much for them. But we were laughing that it was like the second we let them use a phone for a second, because I was trying to do their hair or something, and we took it away, and they both were like kind of reacted kind of crazy, and we looked at each other and went, screens. Like, it's just
crazy. But
I think it's happening to older kids, even like 4th and 5th grade, and I think they have a lot of pressure. I think school pressure has changed a lot and is a lot, and I think sometimes when they get to dance, they want to have fun and relax, and then we're kind of on them to be listening and focused again.
Right.
I don't know.
So that is real. So one of the coaches wrote in things parents were entitled to. I think she must mean things that parents think they're entitled to. My time and energy for activities on my real work time job or home time. There's no boundaries, because, she said boundaries need to exist because I love this, but it's a job. It's not my total existence. Right. So trying to set boundaries with the parents would be huge. It's your job to coach missing fundamentals, and my kids shouldn't have to come in with those, was one of the comments. And
what kind of fundamentals? Like how to be a good student?
No, like how to turn, or how to, it's like they think that they should get taught that after they get on a high school dance team. And I mean, I think it's almost every high school dance team's wish that the kids would learn this at a studio, because when you get in, you don't have that much time to work with them.
Depending on what state you're in and stuff, and the rules. Like if you, like our state in Minnesota, we're only 4 months. It's not like, not even running. 4 months.
This episode is sponsored by Just for Kicks Camp. We offer camps for coaches, studio owners, and dancers, of course. And some of our Minnesota camps boast 1,000 kids at them. We do camps on location at your school or studio if you wish. And boy, if you go to camp, you come home a stronger coach and way stronger dancer, and your team really pulls together. Click on camps on the Just for Kicks website for more information. Okay, so let's talk about something that's on every coach and dance teacher or program director's mind, is parental entitlement. The parent who expects unlimited access to your time, your energy, or even control over how you're running the team. Mm-hmm. And here's the truth. Boundaries don't mean that we don't care. As a coach, we do care, or we wouldn't be doing this. Boundaries mean we do. And for the program, for the athletes, and for our own sanity, we do need some boundaries.
Right. And I think a lot of it too, kind of comes back to the culture of your team. And I think that's something you talk about so often. And I feel like, especially, I cannot imagine being a new coach in the society that we live in, and with the entitlement that is out there. I think it would be really tricky, because I feel like, I've been coaching for 20 years, and you've been coaching for 1.5 million. And so I think, we probably get more parents questioning things behind our back than we do to our faces or anything.
I think when you're new, I remember it, you get questioned way more about everything, and just kind of expect it. Don't think you have to answer every single thing. one parent was going, what do I do to shut down this insistent parent that keeps bugging me about everything? And I'm like, just quit answering and just give one answer and done,
Yeah. And I think that there's some coaches that go the other way where they're too much. Like, I'm not responding to anything. And you've never been that way.
No.
And so I don't think I am either. But, like, I like parents to feel like we care and to know that we care and talk them through things, because I think it can help a lot. But you do have to find that boundary again of like, when is it too much, and a point to say, you know what, you're not going to agree with me. And so we're just going to end the conversation here.
Right.
Respectfully.
So what kind of boundaries do you think a coach needs? I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, I just feel like, for example, if somebody kept coming to you over the same thing, like, why isn't my kid in the dance or whatever it might be?
Or time at home if they're calling you at 10 at night.
And I answer that stuff normally.
I do too.
And sometimes I don't. And then I just the next day say, oh, sorry, I was sleeping or whatever, if I was busy doing something. But if I'm awake and something I can easily answer, I don't go, oh, it's past 10 o'clock, I'm not going to answer. We'll just answer it. But I also know that that's hard for people too. So I think it just depends on yourself as a person. But I always kind of just, if it's something where I want them to know I saw it, but I'm not going to answer right now, I'll even just say, hey, I saw your message, I'll reach back out to you tomorrow.
Right. And I think right away, parents have every right to care about their kids and have questions. And
For sure. And I think it's easy for coaches to get defensive.
Right. And I think if you go at it, that if you don't take it so personal and you think, okay, they just care about their kid.
And if it were my child.
Right. I even think after you had your own kids, you change.
For sure.
You realize how sensitive they are and how important everything is. But you still don't need to get, what you allow is what's going to be happening. Mm-hmm. If you allow parents to push you around and change your decisions because of them, they're going to know that you're a pushover. If you, I always say, is the dog wagging the tail or the tail wagging the dog? The dog needs to be wagging the tail. The head coach or the coach needs to be in charge. The kids are not in charge and the parents are not in charge. But if you allow them to overtake, that's when it will happen. But if you aren't so defensive, you're going to have an easier time dealing with situations. I really do, And sometimes if you can just laugh at it and go, oh, the crazy again, there was one who was saying that her parents wanted her to play games every practice, and she was like,
I can't physically do that.
There's no way. How would you play games at every practice and make it fun at every practice? Yeah, we have to have fun stuff here and there. With that, I'm thinking you're there to get something done. I don't think the football team plays games every day.
Right.
Do you? I
if
don't
we were going
think
to do
so.
that, I would just go home and be with my own kids and play games with them.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So one of the questions was, my dancer is on the A team at the studio. Why isn't she on the A team at the dance team? And
it happens to us, and we run our studio and also coach our dance team. And I have, I don't necessarily teach our older kids classes, but I'm thinking about the kids that might be on varsity on dance team, but then they're not in our A placement class at studio. And it's just because we're looking at things differently.
It might be a different thing. It might be a different.
I think that would be my way to handle that with a parent, is just saying, it's a very different thing at studio than it is at dance team.
Different set of judges. One of the questions was, parents never help with this certain program has underzealous parents that aren't helping with things. And I really think if you have a program, I had that when I first started. I had to be the one doing everything for our kids. We didn't have that parental support. Mm-hmm. Nobody even came and watched our competitions when I first coached. It's so weird to think about now. I had to create that. So I think
But there probably was a beauty in that too.
Yeah. I think our banquets were just me and the kids. We didn't even have parents at our banquets. And it was kind of fun,
And sometimes I feel like you maybe had more, and I don't know if this is accurate, but a different kind of kid to coach. And that could be more fun in a way when there wasn't so much parental involvement.
And there wasn't so much pressure. It was all new. And now there's pressure on these kids.
So much pressure.
Especially if you've been successful in your dance program. And I think the posting thing has just gotten out of hand, like, oh, my kid's on varsity or my kid got first place at this competition. And I think some of that,
Student of the semester. And,
all that stuff puts pressure on the kids. So anytime that you're with your parent group and you can talk about, let's try to lessen the pressure. Let's try to not compare kids with each other. And let's not compare JV and varsity. Let's just talk about it. So anyway, I just think trying to create the culture with your parents is as important as it is with your kids.
For sure.
So even doing some fun things like having a night, let's look at the score sheet. And I've been wanting to do that and haven't worked time in. I need to do that. But let's go over the score sheet and talk about it so they know what's happening. I think that will help build some buy-in with the parents, and
will make them, the competitions more fun for them to watch because they'll have a better understanding of what's being judged.
Yeah.
I think especially in dance, if like dance isn't something people grew up watching, like where some people might grow up watching football or basketball. So whether you played it or not, you get it. Where like parents, I think, don't often understand dance. Yeah. So going over it with them so that they can feel like they get what's going on.
And then the next question that we were asked is, I'm here for my kid, not the team. And we hear that more than you'd believe. But the truth is, if you only care about your child's success and not the team's success, you're missing the point of
Right.
being on a team sport. And, I was talking with a friend that she used to be with a mom in a different sport. And the only thing that mom cared about is if that kid scored goals that night, not if the team won.
Right.
And I think you got to think about, really take a deep look at that and think about that. So,
and I think that's, again, something to talk about at your parent meetings. Like the team is so important, and to think about what is the team dynamic teaching your child. Like it's teaching them to be selfless. It's teaching them to work with other people. It's teaching them that they're not the most important thing in the world.
It's kind of like there's no I in team, that you hear that over too much. True. But some kids are mad they're not in the front row. It's not about the front row. It's about the team.
And it's about what it's going to look like on the floor, the picture. There's reasons behind everything.
And sometimes it has nothing to do with how good you are. It might be like in kick, it's like how tall or short you are. You end up sometimes in spots because we're moving everywhere. And sometimes as the coach, the kid that ends up in the front is not the one you specifically wanted there. And it's just how it moved around. So, but they are learning selflessness, cooperation, empathy. And your kid can't grow in a healthy culture if everyone around them is only looking out for themselves. So really try to point that out at your parent meetings, coaches, that we got to try to look out for the whole team, not just our kid.
And talk with your kids about that a lot. Like, this is not going to come together if you're only worried about you. And I really think parenting wise, I just think it's a great thing for parents to think about, like, what you're teaching your children at home. Like, are you making it all about them all the time? Or when they come home, even like complaining about a friend, because I know you did this to me all the time when I was younger, and it made me so mad. And now I get it. And like, I understand why you did it. But if I would complain about my friends or whatever it might be, my mom was always going, well, what did you do? You always did that. You never let me whine about stuff. It was always like, well, maybe there's a reason they did that. Maybe there's a reason they're upset with you. Did you do, like, it was always kind of true.
I got that from my mom, and it's one thing I'm really thankful for, that I was parented hard, I would say. Not loving, but
right.
I had to toe the line, and like, we could never blame a teacher. We could never blame a coach. It was always, what did you do?
Right.
In that situation?
And it always makes a kid think. And so whether I reacted like I was thinking, I probably was like, oh, you're so annoying because you're not listening to me. But I was always kind of going, well, she is right. I did do, whether I said it out loud, you'd reflect and think and become a better person, I think.
So the next comment was, it's your job to reteach fundamentals. A parent said that to one coach. And my answer would be, parents sometimes expect coaches to reteach everything a dancer hasn't learned before, like at a studio or whatnot. But even that slows down the whole team. And yes, we will fill in the gaps and help kids improve and in all we can do. But if it's a highly competitive program, the kids have to work the off season and come in ready to compete.
And I feel like it could be things like, hey, coach, what what are tips you could give me on this? Because I'm struggling. Like, I don't think any coach is ever going to have a problem with that. But
never.
if a kid's like, well, I don't know how to do that, that I would have a problem with, because I'd be like, well, what are you doing outside of practice? Because we're not doing that here.
Right. So the best thing a parent can do is to support their child's accountability. Kids need to be held accountable.
Yes, and I don't think that happens enough right now.
They need to be held accountable for everything, their attitudes, for, don't ever shift the blame onto the teacher or the coach, because the kids have to be accountable for what they know and don't know,
And I think, I feel like to answer coaches' questions on this, like, how do you deal with it? Again, talking about it at your parent meeting. But I also think talking with your kids a lot about it, and you don't need to shame their parents in any way, but having the talk. But we do that a lot, where we bring our kids in and we sit down and we talk about everything. But talking about accountability, talking about, don't put the blame on your school teachers if your homework doesn't get done. Did you spend too much time on TikTok? Did you spend, kind of helping them understand accountability. So if they're not getting that at home, we can at least try to fill in the gaps of that and help them become better people.
So, a big takeaway of all the stuff we're talking about is, at the end of the day, coaching isn't about catering to specific kids and parents. It's about cultivating. It's about, the healthiest teams are built when coaches lead confidently, athletes commit fully, and parents support respectfully. I like that. I really do. So if we're on the same side, we are on the same side, hopefully, but we do have to stay in our own lanes, And
I think that's, if parents and coaches together could understand that, because I often feel like coaches also can ride on the too defensive. I feel like that a lot when I see different questions that we get, even where it's, even studio, like at Studio Supple, I don't let parents do X, Y, and Z, and I don't. And it's like, well, why not want them to work with you? We should want to work together. We should want to make the parents feel like they're part of it too, and like it's their team too. Like, we want to all feel like we are proud of whatever your team is, And
I think you get more confident as you've done it a while, for sure. And I really think that, like, sometimes the reason people don't want to talk with parents is they don't have the security.
It's scary
that they can know the right answer, So,
but the more you do it, the easier it gets and the better you get at it.
Yeah, you don't have to allow unlimited access to you, but you do have to allow integrity and let them know you care, and let them know that their kid is, you do have their kid's best interest at heart.
And I think one of the best ways to do this, pick up the phone and call, but don't email back. If a parent sends you a mad email, call them. And I think, yes, it's scarier because you can think through what you're writing a lot easier, but I know you've always said this to me, and I feel like I've been trying to do a better job of that in the last couple years. And I do think it makes a big difference, because when the parents can hear your voice and you can talk stuff through, it makes everything go a lot better.
Well, one of our studio directors for Just for Kicks was saying that she has now, instead of sending an email, she'll send a voice memo.
Yeah, and I think
because they can hear her voice, and they know, oh, hey, this is, Michaela, I'm just letting you know that I'm answering your question, and it,
They can hear your tone of voice rather than reading the email in the tone they think you're saying.
Right, and boundaries aren't mean. And back to the closing thought here about boundaries. Boundaries aren't mean. They're necessary if you're going to put out a good product, and you're all going to get through the year in a great way. So good luck with that. Thank you.